Welcome. In this video, I will show you my dashboard app web portal, specifically version 2.5. This video will document the requirements, showing you how to install, and then we'll move on and show you a demo of some of the features. But first, what is web portal? Well, it's an all-in-one web dashboard that uses a widget-based system with the ability to load third-party plugins. Some of the features are minimal JavaScript, icons, a plugin system, as previously mentioned, that comes with links, clock, search, and the ability to embed websites as inbuilt plugins. You'll expect to find a dark and a light theme. User accounts can be created with separate or shared dashboards, depending on what you want. So, who is web portal designed for? Well, I think it's designed for someone that wants an elegant dashboard that could be set up using a web-based editor rather than a config file. Or it could be a developer that wants to create custom functionality without building their own dashboard app by utilizing the said plugin system that we mentioned earlier. Moving on to the requirements. This video assumes you have Docker installed and you know the basics. You can install web portal without using containers by following a guide on the project website. However, this video won't be going into that. This video will be using SQLite. MySQL is also another database that is supported, but for this video, we're just going to stick to SQLite. It's recommended to also use a reverse proxy for hosting with a domain name and HTTPS. Now, let's move on to installing web portal. Before moving on to the install, I would like just to say what system I'm going to be running web portal on. I'm going to be using a Raspberry Pi 4 with 4 GB of RAM that has an external SSD attached. It's going to be running Debian Trixie, which is Debian 13, and it's going to be running Docker version 29 with Docker Compose version 5 installed. So your commands may be slightly different if you're running a different system or different version. With that out of the way, let's move on to the actual install. For this video, we're only going to be setting up web portal in a basic manner. On the screen is the directory layout that this video will use. You can of course store your Compose file and app data how you like. So first I'm going to create a directory to store all of this data in. And as per the layout, I'm going to create the directory in my home folder under Compose Web Portal with a underscore. And now with that created, we can simply cd into it. And once we're in there, we can now create our Compose file, which will house our app deployment. And I'm just going to copy my Compose file in I made earlier to save me typing it in. I'll just explain a bit about the Compose file so you can understand what I have done. Here's the volume section. This is where we're defining where the app data is going to be stored. As I said earlier, based on the structure, we're going to store it inside our Compose web portal directory under data. And here I'm just exposing the application directly as port 8000. You can of course use a port that is free on your system as long as you change only the left side. And this is where the environment variables are being defined. This will need to be generated, which I'll cover right now. In another terminal, we'll need to run a command to generate our secret. You can of course use a different tool if you don't have this one installed. I'm going to use OpenSSL. I've already got the command here. So we're going to use OpenSSL, the random function, and we're going to generate some hexadecimal at a length of 32. Obviously, don't copy this secret because it's now publicly known on the internet. And we can just paste it in after the equals sign like this. I'm just going to remove this bit here and we're just going to have a shorter secret for the sake of this video. And now our compose file is actually complete and we can run Web Portal. However, before doing that, I just want to cover what you will need to change if you want to host this behind a reverse proxy. This mostly remains the same. However, I'm going to assume you're going to be hosting it behind a reverse proxy to gain HTTPS. So we'll need to create another environment variable with secure cookies and then make that true. You can, of course, use 1 as well if you want. And if you're using a internal Docker bridge network, you can remove this port section and no longer use it. However, if you're using a reverse proxy outside of Docker or on a different machine, you would, of course, need to keep this the same. As this is a basic install, I'm obviously not going to be using a reverse proxy, so I'm just going to delete this as we're going to be hosting it via HTTP. That's of course not recommended for an actual production install. So we are actually done with this compose file, so we can close it and we can start the service. We can do this with a docker compose command and we can do docker compose up-d. This will put it in a detached state, so it will be in the background. And now we're running Web Portal. We can move on to the demo. Okay, and now here is our running Web Portal instance. As you can see, there's some user onboarding. So normally you would click the next button and it will ask you to create an account and some basic settings that you can use. However, for this demo, I'm going to obviously use the demo install because we don't need to worry about usernames and passwords. So I'm going to click the install as demo, but you should click the next button here and follow the walkthrough. Okay, now I've got Web Portal ready. I'm just going to log in as the admin first. So obviously you would need to use your own credentials that you've made. But mine is admin, obviously not very secure. So logging in here, our dashboard is blank. So first, I'll add a link to the dashboard. So I'm going to go up here to the settings cog. And then as I'm an admin user, I can go and create links. So I'm going to go into the plugins section because everything is a plugin, even the inbuilt ones. And I'm going to go over to core, and then I'm going to go into the links management. And then as you can see, because I'm running a demo mode, I've already got some links here, but let's go create a new one. So we're going to go up here to new link, and we need to enter in a URL to go to. I'm just going to paste in the URL of the dashboard because why not? And let's call it Web Portal. And we can set a color. So that will be a selection of various colors here and it will show up on the actual link itself. I'm just going to choose, I don't know, let's choose cyan. And if you had any icons, you could also select them here. I'll show you how to do icons in a moment. So clicking on save, we've now added our link. As you can see, it's here. And if we wanted to configure the color again, we could do so with the settings cog, or we could also delete the link. So now let's move on to create a dashboard. As I'm in the admin user, we'll create an admin dashboard. You can also read this message here that if I don't create a dashboard, it will inherit the public one if one was set up. I'll also show you how to create a public dashboard in a moment as well. So let's just go and create an admin dashboard. So create custom. We can give a widget a name. This may or may not show up on the dashboard depending on whether you turn it on or off. So I'm just going to call it My Links. And I don't want a clock, I want a links. And we can add that. And now we can go and customize. This is actually a group. So we've added in a links group. So here we can go and modify our group And as you can see, you can enable or disable the header. I'll just leave it disabled. And our widget actually comes with some extra options for a group. So we can actually make the links compact. That will make the height of the widget slightly smaller. I'm just going to leave it on the default for now. And let's go and pick a link to add to our group. I'm going to go and add web portal and press add. And if we just scroll down to the bottom again, we can see that web portal is added into our links group and we can delete it. So now if we go back to the top and we go to the home button, we can see that our link has been added to our dashboard. So as I said earlier, you can add icons to your links as well. Well, as an admin user, we can do that. Going to the settings cog, going down to plugins, going to core, and upload icons. This will show us a format that our icons need to be in when we upload the zip file. Now down here at the bottom of the screen, you can also see there's a manual method. So if our zip file is too big, we can go and upload icons via our app directory, which was in containers, web portal, and /data. So then if we go and make a folder called plugins and then core and then icons, and then we have an SVG folder and a PNG folder. You don't have to have an SVG and a PNG. You can have both of them if you want, or one of either one. It will load the SVGs as a priority, and then it will load a PNG if one isn't found. So I'm not actually going to add icons. However, it's very easy to add them. Now, there's several places you can get icons from. I've seen you can get icons from self-host/icons. They seem to have PNGs and SVGs. And if we scroll up here, we can see there's 2 folders with them in. But you should just be able to upload them straight into web portal. Now, how do we create a public dashboard that is shared between every user and possibly public for when you're not logged in? Well, we just need to switch to the public user, which is a virtual user, so they have no username or password. The only way to log into this virtual user is to go into an admin account, go into settings, go down to administration, and then switch to public. And now we're in the public account, and as you'll see, you'll get a message at the top saying you're in a public virtual account. And we can switch back to our admin user, or we can just log out. Now, as you can see, the dashboard is blank if we just get rid of that message. So we can go and add links to it. I'll just go and add some off camera for a moment. Okay, and like before, I've made a dashboard, and this time I've added a clock, and I've added a links group with a title. So now if we were to switch back into the admin account, we'll see our dashboard has gone back to our admin dashboard. But say we no longer want this and we just want to inherit the public one. We can click on the settings cog and we can click restore to defaults. And now we'll get this message again. And if we go back to home, we'll see that we're now inheriting the public dashboard on our admin account. Now, if you would set up your instance not using demo mode, you would actually be able to change whether the public account needed a login or was just available for anyone to use. So if I actually log out here, I won't be able to visit the dashboard because it's currently in a login only state. So if we log in as a demo user, we can see the public dashboard on that as well. And as you can see, the public dashboard is here. Now, if you wanted to change your dashboard from login only to allow you to view the public dashboard without being logged in, you could log out and log in as an admin, then go to settings, administration, system settings, and then we can select here public portal and save. And as you can see, I can't do this because I'm in demo mode, but this would have allowed me to view the dashboard while I'm logged out. That's all for this video. Hope you found it useful. Subscribe for more related content. Further information about Web Portal is available on the project site. You can also report bugs and other issues on the project repository. And if you've made any plugins, leave a comment and list them on the GitHub discussions page so other people can find them. You can find my website and ways to support me in the description of this video. Bye for now.